And the other thing I found very interesting is that they talked about reunifying Ayden with Rustin. Now, the reality is reunification therapy is when you are an alienated parent. So, for example, if Ayden did not want to see Rustin, that's when a judge would order reunification therapy so that they could get that bond back together because the person was badmouthed. What was happening today had nothing to do with reunification therapy. I mean, both Rustin and Ayden love each other, they want to be together. This is an intentional deprivation by Judge Graham Quisenberry. He's right down here in the 415th District Court. He has intentionally kept Ayden away from Rustin for 20 months. And let me go a little bit further with this. I think, because I was here in December when the counselor came in and spoke on behalf of Rustin and said there's really nothing, he should be able to see him. And I think that there comes a place when a judge, like Judge Graham Quisenberry, I'm wondering if he has come to the realization he royally screwed up on this. He made a huge mistake, and now how do I save things? I don't know what your thoughts are. I mean, to me, he's a man without a conscience to begin with, so I don't know if that's an accurate description or not. But what are your thoughts?
Well, I'll say what I spoke to someone earlier about that. And the reality is, we have so removed God from the public square,
right,
that government is our God.
Yeah.
And when you realize that God, I don't care how you define him or who he is to you, he is an omnipresent, omnipotent, infallible.
Yeah.
And government, he wants to take that place of the sovereign.
Yeah.
And when he makes a mistake, they cannot admit it. And we see this on all levels of government.
Right. And especially when you're a judge.
And when you're a judge, you cannot admit that you made a mistake.
Yeah.
Because if you admit the mistake, then exactly. But at what point, in what other cases did you make mistakes that you are not repenting of?
Yeah, I think that now the Amicus recused himself today. I think what he thought that Rustin would just go away.
Yeah.
And I think that they thought they would make life so bad on him that Ayden would just want to live with a mom, and now he's in boarding school and it's not backing down. I think that he's probably looking for a way out.
So it's very interesting you say that. I was here in December and I started to say this. I think that, I watched what he said, some of his testimony, and his name is Zach Pettigrew, and he was terrible. And because you saw today, he kept on saying, we all know Ayden wants to live with his dad.
Then let's do it.
Yeah, we all know that. But he, who is a stranger, who's getting paid $200 an hour for doing what doesn't look like a whole lot of work, somehow knows Ayden's best interest over Rustin. And that's what I thought was criminal as well.
Well, first of all, does he have any children?
Well, I think he actually does. I think he's married. I think I've done some background on him, but I think he's got a couple of kids. But I mean, I think that what we should do is maybe Rustin should be able to go in and say to him, I'm sorry, you can no longer see your kids for the next 2 years. And that's in the best interest of the children, because if you're not abusing to me, you might be abusing the children. I don't know.
I think the glaring point that was not brought up is piggybacking off of what you said about the reunification.
Yeah.
So if we go from that standpoint, he should really be reunified with his mother.
Right.
That he's being mandated to go live with this summer.
Right.
And the relationship is strained. But the glaring point is, what has she done to contribute to this whole fiasco that's being played out in this courthouse?
So there's a difference between alienation and estrangement, and that's another thing that people forget. Alienation is when a child rejects you for no good reason. Estrangement is when you're being rejected because of stuff that you've done. Now, I've talked to Ayden personally. I mean, if Judge Quisenberry doesn't want to release his interviews, I can certainly release mine, and they are damning. And Ayden will tell you right up front, it's his mother that did it, 100%. and now she's playing the victim. And I mean, I've seen her in other things too. I mean, she's in some of these groups that you're like, I'm an alienate mother. You're not an alienate mother. You are an alienator. You are keeping your child away. And this is even what Jacoby Robinson said. He said it's her way of doing things. It's basically her way or the highway where she wants you off the case.
But if you had 50-50 as a presumption, and you had real equity in these courts, would her relationship with Ayden, would the mother's relationship with her son be intact?
But that's a very good point to raise.
Or at this point, if she just said, okay, he doesn't want to live with me, I'm going to take standard because of the distance. Geographical, they can live together. I'll take standard. The relationship with her would be better. And they could work on that.
Right.
And then keep Ayden to live with Rustin. At this point, I don't think there could be a 50-50 solution. I think at this point, he's got to live with Rustin. He has to live with Rustin. And she gets visitation.
Yeah. And the reality is, because there have been allegations of abuse, that to me look very credible. I've seen some of the pictures and video, and when you have that taking place, and then you're saying, I want 50-50 or something like that.
Well, in this case, 50-50 is, and I'm a proponent of 50-50. In this case, 50-50 is out, just because of where they live.
But with that being said, if it was predicated on he lives within, if you want to go to the whole valid orders in Rustin's case, and he wants to argue,
she should have never moved 100, 200 miles away.
But she has the option to pick up and move to Collin County.
Agreed. I agree with that. But if she does not.
But again, you're predicating. I have chosen, personally, I've chosen to live within a mile of my children, even though I'm being denied. But I did not ever want that to be a practical reason why not to have access.
I agree. But what I'm saying is, at this point of where she lives, she could.
But that would be predicated on her own decisions. And I think if we're talking about best interests of the child, if we remove, these substantive versus, fictional arguments, and we just go off of common sense, then best interest of the child is for both parents to live within a distance that's conducive of their children having
a healthy relationship with both. I agree with that.